Good morning. Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another talk as a part of the Happy and Successful Summit, which I'm very honored to be a part of. And today is going to be about kitchen, your kitchen, my kitchen, what we do in there, how whatever we do in there might help us get a little better at life, feel a bit better about ourselves, and a lot more. So, my name is Eva. I am at the moment a baker, a partner, a daughter, a friend, a very kind, jolly, friendly, incredibly anxious and doubt-riddled individual who's got loads more of other adjectives to her. And a lot of that you won't be able to see, but about some of that, I will tell you. I will let you peek a little bit behind the curtain of what's going on in my mind and how I use my kitchen to help me with that. So let's start by actually getting to know you a little bit. So whoever is watching at this moment, let me ask you this. Do you ever cook? If you cook, do you enjoy it? On a scale of 1 to 10, what would that be? Like, is it just, I have to feed myself, I have to feed my family, otherwise, we'd all starve. So I do it. Is it a chore? Perhaps someone has that more as a way to relax, somebody enjoys experimenting. But someone really struggles with cooking, with baking, and just avoids the kitchen space at all costs. I get wherever you're coming from. I grew up in the environment that encouraged me to spend time in the kitchen, to want to learn to cook. I grew up with a role model of a mom who fed everyone in the family, and it looked like she did it happily. So I'm gonna go with I do it happily because of that as well. Anyway, that's where it started from. We used to have fresh meals nearly every day, definitely made our own breakfasts. We were encouraged to make them ourselves as well. We used to have family lunches every Saturday and Sunday. They were a really lovely ritual, grounding us and sort of rounding up every week. And on top of that, my mom, like the star she used to be, and still is to this day, would bake a cake every single Sunday. Can you believe that? We had a fresh tray bake, that size, every single Sunday. Crazy. And they were all delicious. So that's where I sat in a corner or at the kitchen table and I would watch her and just be like, how did she do that? This is so tasty. Wow. And she just like drops the butter and then pours the milk and then the eggs and pops that into the oven, and suddenly a bubble cake comes up. This is something that's a traditional thing back in Slovakia where I'm from, and it's delicious. It's a simple sponge and you can fill that with all kinds of fruits that you want, and it's tasty any time of the year. Anyway, that's where I come in. But let me ask you this. When you are in the kitchen, whatever it is that you do you ever notice a change in your mood or a state of mind? Do you ever feel maybe annoyed with something, like a recipe didn't go your way? Or do you ever feel like, yes, this recipe was a success? Does that happen? Maybe, okay. Do you ever feel or experience anything like a challenge? Maybe when you're trying to, maybe there's a new recipe that you would like to try, but it's a bit scary. So you're a bit apprehensive. You dance around it sort of tentatively. You're boosting your confidence to do this, sometimes weeks or months on end. Like me and a whole roasted duck, by the way. I haven't done it to this day. It will happen at one point. Everyone says it's deadly easy. I don't believe them. So, another thing that I experience is Do you ever feel creative or curious? Ooh, this is like a very colorful soup photo with a recipe in a magazine. That looks cool. I wonder if sweet potatoes really go with beetroot, and how does goat cheese come in? Can I try that? What would happen if I cooked it for me? Or what would happen if, I really don't like the sweet potatoes? What if I changed that for normal potatoes? What else would work? Normal potatoes and goat's cheese? With different cheese, maybe? Do you ever get this? Feeling creative or curious? How about how about when you come into the kitchen and it's been a long day? A really long, freaking exhausting day. And all kinds of things have happened in your office or in your work from home pretend office. Tons of emails, several problems. You were looking for solutions, you were talking to people, you were trying to facilitate all kinds of things, making miracles happen, everyone demanding your time, your presence, your opinion, your solution, your response, and you're just like, please, can I just leave all of this at the door and just breathe for a little bit? Does that ever happen to you? And if you come to the kitchen with this state of mind, does it ever help to just say, okay, I'm just going to leave everything behind the door, behind the window, or just set it to the side? And does it ever happen that I'm gonna just chop these vegetables, make the soup, just like, this water's so nice and warm, and it actually smells quite nice. You know, it's just vegetable stock, but who knew that it's such a complex combination of flavors and ingredients in just a little small, simple soup? Maybe just 3, 4 vegetables. And suddenly you're a bit calmer because you've paid attention to an activity that is outside from everything else that went on today in your day. And suddenly everything is a bit quieter, a bit further away, like there's a little bit of a space between you and the rest of the world. Does this ever happen? If not, listen to me. Because this is the perfect example of what cooking and baking can do for you. Let me, as promised, invite you into my head for a little bit. So I don't know if you've got any kind of drink or snack as you're now watching. If you don't, I encourage you to go right now. You can pause this, but you don't necessarily have to. You can also keep the video running and grab yourself a nice beverage. Anything that you like or crave at this moment. Or grab yourself a snack. Whatever it is, you can even prepare a little bit. You can make a tea, you can make coffee, anything cold, or even just plain old tap water. Anything goes. If you don't, if you already have some, if you don't want a beverage or a snack, just keep watching. So here we go. I am going to make tea. Fine. I mean, bloody hell, like, I think this lighting is really shit. I tried it before and now people are watching me and I wonder what this will look like. So I heated up this water. Okay, it's not even heated properly. Fine. Fingers crossed this is gonna work. Okay. Right. Where was I with this paper, the tools? What do I have ready? No, it's fine, it's fine. Hello everyone, you're still watching. That's totally great. Right. What do I need for tea? Okay. So I was told this is the only property in England. So because we are in London, let's do that. PG tips. The reason why I choose PG tips is because There's such a thing in my life as a tea that my grandma used to drink. It's called grandma tea. So original, right? Anyway, grandma tea, my grandma would have breakfast every morning and she would have one black tea, a lot of sugar, and a lot of lemon. It would be so intense in flavor. I don't know if I could do the same thing. So I do something similar, but slightly milder on the flavor. I use honey and lemon. So the reason I choose this now and in general, whenever I need it, is because it calms me down. It just, yeah, it captures my attention just even talking about it. Sort of pulls me away from the fact that, I'm talking publicly and it's a bit nervous. And anyway, okay, fine. Now let's just put this away properly. Fine. We need a mug. This is a new kitchen. I just moved in a week ago, so kind of keep forgetting where things are. Now I'm really hoping that when I open this, you're not gonna think that this is messy, or what if I have like really not interesting mugs, or not really interesting glasses, or like those, look at this, looks like no order whatsoever. Fine, which mug? I think this is a good size for now, probably. Yeah, and a good color, look at that. It has pause written on it. I think that's perfect for now. Let's go with this one. Fine, let's just close this because this was awkward. Try to open the plates cupboard, it's even worse. Look at that, it's not even sorted out. Anyways, okay, the water. It's just so nice to listen to the shimmer of water. I don't know if you can hear the simmer, but it's nice to listen to it. Maybe you can't hear it. Or if I just watch the steam, it's coming here. I bet you cannot see it, but it's here. It's so nice to just watch it and to sometimes watch the bubbles. I can't see, you can't see this with a camera, but the bubbles are there. So I've got my lemon ready. Lemon always reminds me of summer. Of lemon meringue. And of how lemon makes so many things better. Like, did you know that you put lemon in rice and it livens it up? My partner makes this delicious soup from chicken and rice. It's called, coincidentally, grandma soup from his grandmother in Cyprus. And this soup benefits from a generous helping of lemon, and that just elevates the flavor. I just love lemon. This one's even better. And then we have honey. This is acacia honey, so it's nice, light, floral. And it's quite potent too. Okay, this is perfect. Don't spill. We're fine, we're good. Just even the sound of pouring always kind of calms me down. Did you know that you can tell the difference between pouring hot water and cold water? That's how you know? It's so funny. These random facts. Okay, well, right. So let's let this brew for 2 minutes. Okay, just a spoonful. Do you know the Mary Poppins song, A Spoonful of Sugar? I'm not gonna sing it. That's for another video. That's for another time. And a good, generous helping of that lemon. Right, the seeds flying everywhere, that's fun. And the tea changes color. And actually, based on if you've done just the right amount of lemon and honey, it changes color to the right shade. There's very subtle differences, but if you're a grandma tea connoisseur like myself, you will be able to tell, especially for its nice little color. I think If I show it anymore, I'll spill some, so let's just leave that. And we're back. Right. Now, what this little exercise, which by no means felt even a little bit awkward on my part, what this little exercise wanted to show is that I am a massive overthinker. There's something going on in my mind all of the time. And there are very few moments in life when I settle down, when the brain allows me to just breathe a little bit. And one of those moments is when I make tea. It's my little ritual. It's like a little quick fix almost that works every single time without fail. Maybe you noticed as I was talking, as I was sort of rambling on and letting you in on the thoughts I actually had in my brain at the time. Whenever I approached each of the steps during the tea making process, there's not many, but when I chose the tea, when I poured in the water, as I opened the honey, as I smelt the lemon, as I brought it all in together, and I'm yet to go through my final and actually favorite step of the process, and it's not drinking it, stand by. Every single time, my brain just went, just silent. And I was just in the moment, just loving that smell of lemon for even a few seconds. Just smelling the honey, just listening to the water pouring from the kettle into the mug. These moments are so precious to me. And for such a long time, I went without realizing that they actually exist, that I can make them consciously, create them when I need them, and use them intentionally. Sometimes I would automatically say, oh, I need to calm down, I'm just gonna go and make a coffee. Without realizing that that's such a great quick fix, a quick, neat little solution to distract me from anything that's going on. Andrea, my coach, for many years, has taught me, well, a ton of things, but one of them is one of my favorite quick fixes, and that's whenever something's going on in your head, you're spiraling into thoughts or you're in a mood and you need to help yourself to snap out of it, just take 10 deep breaths. That's a fantastic tool that's available to me at any moment, anywhere, for free. It's just in my head, or I can just physically do it. Nobody needs to know. Sometimes I've perfected it because I'm using it so much that I just need one breath. And I already see her in my head going, just calm down. You've got this. But so often we struggle to make this happen for us. And for me, rituals such as just making a tea are so helpful. It's been 2 minutes, so now for my favorite part. And if you've never done this, honestly, do it. It will slightly enhance the experience. So what I do is I do this every time, I smell the wet tea bag or the loose leaves. There's a specific different smell to the smell of the tea bag before and to the smell of whatever concoction is in your mug. It's so nice. I just love it. Maybe I'm weird, but give it a go. So we've got the tea, and you get the gist of what I'm about to tell you. If not, let me explain a bit more. So I used to be all kinds of things during my career. I used to be a journalist, is what I studied. I used to be an events manager. I used to be a project manager in an advertising agency. Then I became a chef. And what all of these have in common is they're all incredibly stressful jobs. All of them require me to work overtime quite often, which I quite happily do because I sort of tend towards, oh, I'm just gonna give it my all every single time. And while it's great, it's not always healthy. Anyway, during me being in these jobs, because I used to be motivated to, always deliver, always do a good job, always be at hand. It would get overwhelming fairly often. And without realizing it, because I came from the background of a family and a home where we cooked for ourselves, and I thought it was also expected of me to be able to cook and feed myself and my partner and the family, I would often just close myself in the kitchen and hope that, okay, I'm just gonna reorganize my pantry now, don't have to think about anything that's going on, just focus on cleaning now. Or I'm going to just cook this risotto now and just forget about everything and just smell it, just watch the bubbles, just watch the risotto rice change its shape and texture, and just keep adding the water and just focus on that. Just let whatever happens in your head fall away for a little bit, or be there, but be there just on the side while I'm in a different world. And I didn't realize that this was actually me practicing mindfulness techniques within active relaxation situation that then allows me to land in a different headspace and feel a bit better. That was very good for my mental health. I didn't have the language back then. I didn't really need it. I just knew it worked. And it was only when I started to be a professional chef and I was going through the kitchens and picking up different new techniques, recipes, methods, talking to my colleagues, talking to head chefs, talking to all kinds of cookery professionals, I realized that kitchen really is and always has been the perfect space that can function as a self-help tool for us. I don't really want to say therapy because it is by no means something that can substitute actual professional therapy. No, it is not. However, it is a very, very helpful tool. If we do actually live in a space where we have access to a kitchen on a daily basis, then it's true, then it's available for us every day at no extra cost. And with a little intention, when we know what we're about, we can use it in such a variety of fantastic and functional and effective ways to just make our life a little bit happier, calmer, maybe to let loose, maybe to get a bit more creative. We can train ourselves purposefully by using, say, do you know I mentioned about I'm nervous about a new recipe? So there are so many parallels with your life outside of the kitchen and with what's going on in your kitchen and what you can make happen for yourself in your kitchen. For instance, I'm fairly nervous about starting my new platform, which is called the In-Between Kitchen. Part of it is me speaking to you now at the Happy and Successful Summit. So the reason I'm nervous about this is because it's something new, something I'm going to do for the first time ever. I already know that I do possess certain skills that will help me to make it happen and possibly potentially make it happen in an engaging, fun and quality way. However, it's still new and I don't know what's going to happen. So in order to prepare myself for that, I do a new recipe. I approach it in my kitchen. I can train myself a little bit. I can make myself go through an experience that will, in my kitchen, be executed in a safe space, on my own terms, in my own time. And I can repeat it as many times as I want or need. And that can actually boost my confidence and can help me be a bit more relaxed So then when I approach a similar situation in my life outside of the kitchen, such as recording this video, I'll be like, okay, you know you've got this, you know you can improvise, you know you can approach a new thing with your current skill set, this is going to be okay. So that's one of the examples, and there's a ton of them. I've talked to so many chefs about what's the most relaxing thing you do in the kitchen, and you wouldn't believe how many tell me that chopping mushrooms is fantastic because of their funky, spongy texture. How many chefs agree, bakers especially, that kneading bread is fantastic when you're angry? It's not that you approach the recipe with anger and then make an angry bread, that never works. But some recipes really require you to use some work, use some muscle, put some effort in, literally sweat through the process. And then you end up with a lovely product that you've made yourself with your own hands from your own lovely ingredients, and it tastes delicious. So somehow, certain type of energy that perhaps wasn't positive when you started transforms into something really nice and really delicious. That's what kitchen can do as well. There's, one of our new favorites, me and Andrea, have recently recorded a episode on a podcast that she started that's called Trust the Unknown. Now, my partner is a chef as well, and he recently said, do you know what, the trust the unknown thing in the kitchen, this is a perfect thing to train yourself for, to prepare yourself for, because there are certain recipes that take time. Something takes 4 hours, some things take 2 days even, if you have the time and the patience. I said to him, you could do these things, not me. Anyway, he says that as you go through the steps of the recipe, what you start with really doesn't resemble, not even closely, the thing that you want to get to. And then there are several steps of the process that you need to take, and you need to trust them, even though midway you're looking at the meal thinking, it doesn't have the consistency, it smells weird, I don't know how to do this, like how can this temperature actually get me from here to here? But you need to trust it, especially if you're unfamiliar with the recipe. And I really love that. I'm going to explore that in my workshops for sure, and in real life. Right. The other part of what I want to talk to you about is how this can help us in the coming year. So now we are in January 2024, arguably the month that where we should not yet start new projects and sort of reinventing everything, but we are thinking about it. From my point of view, what Happy and Successful Summit is also about is you sort of setting the scene for yourself, thinking about, where do I want this year to take me to? How do I want to feel? What should maybe my resolution for this year be? Perhaps what does it even mean for me to be happy this year, this month, today? And part of that, I like to think, can also be helped through your kitchen. So I've got a couple of recommendations for you to try that and to maybe help you set the scene for this year or for this month. So to set the scene, I said that I moved into a new kitchen, into a new flat that we're in now. And normally when I'm recording from my kitchen, I would have it nice and tidy. I would figure out the lighting. I would, maybe style a couple nice things so that you can see me in as perfect an environment as possible. However, this time I went for a little bit of a different approach. I left whatever you see behind me just as it was when we were sort of unpacking all the boxes. We were just placing things wherever. We were, the goal was just to be able to move around, just to be able to cross from the door to the stove, to the window, to the sink, just to be able to make things happen, make that tea, heat up that dinner. So lots of the things that are behind me now will not really actually be or stay that way. We are also missing some items. So, for instance, this is a dehydrator that we nearly never use, but we bought it because, impulse buyers. There's a blender right next to it, which we use about once a month, twice a month, so perhaps also doesn't need to be on the worktop that I immediately use. There's a cooking pot that could probably go somewhere in or out. There's some unidentifiable box of something, I'm not even sure what, in the corner behind the knives. There's a box with some vegetables, fruit. Even the fact that vegetables and fruit are together is not how I function normally. On the other hand, there's a couple items that will probably stay on the worktop. For instance, there's a really lovely butter box that my partner bought, and he's really fond of it, and we keep our butter in there and we always use it to hand. It's very practical, it's very pretty, so we keep that one. My favorite teapot is also something that's always to hand because I'm a tea addict, as you may have guessed by now. I have a kettle, and there's a couple more things sort of at the other end of the kitchen that you don't see at the moment. Another thing that I look at in this space is that actually the way you see this kitchen right now, I'm not sure if that's what I want it to look for when I record my videos, for when I even wake up every day. This is of course a matter of personal taste, but I think that the cupboards could benefit from perhaps a different color, or definitely a change of the handles. I think that the tiles on the wall could also, I don't know, probably will like stick some other tiles over them, and or maybe we color them, we change them. We will see. But this is not the kitchen space that I ideally would like to operate in. Now, the reason I'm explaining this is that I used to go to a therapist some time ago, and one of the best and very simple pieces of advice she gave me, at the time I was sharing, I was living in a shared house, so I had my room, and that was the only part of that house that really only belonged to me. That was the space that was supposed to make me feel homely and safe, and I was supposed to be happy and content in it. And I was using almost all the items in it practically every day because it was just a room and I didn't have that much stuff. And, I existed in that one space every day. So, what she told me at the time was take a good look around yourself in this one room that you occupy, that's meant to be your home, your safe space, and have a good think. Review everything you see, everything that is around you, everything you use, and just be honest with yourself. Are you really happy with where everything is positioned? Could you maybe get rid of some stuff? Do you really use every item of furniture? Is the bed oriented to your liking? Do you like the curtains? In the room where I was, there were quite a few things that I didn't really need. And I said maybe I can tell the landlord to, dispose of them. Maybe I can not change the carpet, but maybe I can like throw another rug over it to make me feel a bit happier because the carpet color was awful. And she said that if I do this within that space of my one room, of my one, safe zone, that will help me to then take a look into other areas of my life as well. And also do a little review, take stock of what's actually there and whether I'm really using all that's there, whether I'm really benefiting, whether it's really making me happy, whether there's something that maybe I can let go of, find a new use for, move on from. So for me, I exercise this fantastic piece of advice, which by the way worked really well and sort of switched me on in several other areas of my life indeed. And I use this in my kitchen as well. That's my first recommendation for you. When setting the scene for 2024, if you transfer the skill of looking around in your kitchen and going, oh, do I really want those pots? And am I really still using these utensils? And how about I make it easier for myself with washing the dishes by getting a dish drying rack? That could be helpful, to streamline things a bit, to make things easier. Or do I maybe want a set of lights behind me because it's a nicer lighting? It will just be a bit more easy on the eyes when I wake up early and I'm making that first coffee. When you optimize your environment in the kitchen to really work for you, or organize your pantry so that it's really fresh and clean, or so that it's really everything is in position to where you want it, so you make the least movement, or so you remember things more easily. Take that approach with you and look at other areas of your life, whether it's your work and the way you function on a daily basis, the tasks you repeatedly, get enveloped by, get sucked into, or you look at your relationship, whether there's perhaps new things you can introduce that will make you feel happier, more content, more excited, more invested, or whether there's some old elements that you can let go of because they no longer serve you. There's all kinds of areas of your life where you can look at. You can look at how you function, even on the way to work, how you approach your hobbies, whether you have any hobbies at all, whether you would like to take up some. This is really up to you. So that's my number one encouraging suggestion. Number two, check in with yourself in your kitchen and outside of your kitchen. What I mean by that is, when you enter your kitchen, what are you bringing into it? What mood are you coming in? What's been happening outside that you then take in and go, all right, how can I let go of this? How can I feel a bit happier? Where are you actually at? Whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally. And then checking in outside of your kitchen. Did I just mess this up? Inside of your kitchen, outside of your kitchen. Checking in where it is that you actually want to move on towards. For instance, when you come in feeling anxious from all the problems, from all the goings on of a day or a week, how do you want to feel by the end of, I don't know, even say making coffee or cooking a dinner? Would you like to be a bit calmer about things? Or would you like to create a bit more space for your brain to consider a problem and come up with some solutions? Would you like someone else in that kitchen with you? Would you like your partner or your kids? Maybe for some more playtime. Maybe you haven't just played for fun, just created something for the joy of it, just for the sake of being, maybe engaging with that inner child for a bit. or with your actual kids. Maybe some interaction with your friends or family is missing. Maybe you'd like to invite someone over and cook for them. There's very few things are better for me, or feel like they give me more pleasure than being able to host and feed other people. It's really, there is something in sharing, something of good quality in sharing the joy, and in just seeing people appreciate what you've made. There's something really simple and gratitude inducing for me. And my recommendation number 3 for you is get your first aid kit ready. What I mean by that is, so many days, nowadays we are so prone to start transformative processes. We are so happy to say, oh yeah, I'm gonna go vegan. I'm going to do dry January. I'm going to exercise more. I'm going to make more time for my friends or family. I'm going to perform better at work. I'm going to go all in with a project that I'm starting. Or I'm going to make more time for me, for whether it's for mindfulness, for meditation. I'm going to try a mindful practice in the kitchen now. Whatever it is that you're embarking on, whatever project or journey, any resolutions and little improvements, along the way it can happen whenever, because we're humans, that we might feel we're faltering, we are not stepping aside from the way, but you know what I mean. Like, today wasn't really my day, or today I know that I'm on a sugar detox, but I'm just gonna have that Twix, Or maybe you think, oh God, we had an argument with my partner again. Why can't I be the perfect partner all the time? Why can't I be there for why have I forgotten to call my mum again? Whatever it is, sometimes you need a help. You need a little bit of an assistance to get you back into, you know what, it's actually okay. I've got this. At least to this state of mind. So I find that kitchen helps with having these little quick fixes, these little first aid moments. One of those you see just now was me making tea. This is such a quick fix for me. Mind you, thinking of that, I think the kitchen is one of the very few places that I've encountered so far that actually has functional quick fixes. So many other areas that tell you there's no quick fix to anything. I think it is in the kitchen. Anyway, another example of a first aid moment for me is I live in London, and I moved here 5 years ago from Slovakia, from Bratislava. So I left a lot of my previous life in Slovakia behind. I'm in touch with people, of course. I love my family, we communicate all the time, but I get sad. And I get uneasy, and I get doubtful about, well, anything. And it really helps me to conjure a little moment of maybe a childhood memory or something that ties me back to my home. For instance, I make at work, when I was really, really stressing out, really overworking, and really hungry all the time, some days, I would make a little slice of bread, because that was always available, a little bit of butter, and a little bit of honey on it. And that is something that my mum very often eats when we go for a visit to our cottage. We have a cottage in the hills and in a forest in the north of Slovakia. It's really beautiful. It's a really tranquil, serene space that's very simple, very sort of, you feel the age of it, you feel how long it's been there, that it's been sort of the same or similar, that there's like been generations living in there. You don't know who, but it feels like a very grounding little safe space. And we often sit there and have this little breakfast, and my mum often has bread and butter and honey. And every time I make this at work, it would just make me feel a bit grounded and it like brought me back to myself from the first bite. It's just so magical and so instant. That another one is bread and butter and ham. I do this now at work for lunches whenever I'm really starving. And it's like a big lumberjack slice, like my dad would slice off, that you can barely open your mouth. And then a lot of butter and ham. And mind you, some of my colleagues are picking it up from me. I go like, ham, bread and butter, anybody? Ham? And they go, yeah, me playing. I'm like, all right, daddy lunch coming up. And it always works. So that's another one. These work for me, but I'm sure you have lots of them that work for you. If you give it a little bit of a thought, what those little moments could be. That's all from me for now. Now, as part of Happy and Successful Summit, I have a special offer for anyone who's watching this video who has participated in the summit, which is based on what you've just heard. If you would like to know more, if you would like to dip your toes, and actually, this was dipping your toes, if you would like to delve in properly into how to use mindfulness practices, specific tools, specific processes, recipes, and methods and techniques, so that you can then employ these in your own kitchen without me, I can help you start. I've got a workshop ready that's called Simmer of the Senses, which is a 2-hour long workshop that covers the basics and sort of helps you navigate in a really light, guided, simple way from your own kitchen with me to help you on this funky, adventurous journey. Helps you, just to introduce yourself to the basics and know where to start with or without me. There's also a VIP offer that is another workshop called Beat It. And this is not us what's the word? Reenacting Michael Jackson music video, although the music might be involved. This is about getting a bit of a swing and sweat, and as I mentioned before, muscle power into releasing some of maybe some negative stuff such as annoyance, anger, and all those sort of negative emotions and all of that wobbly things we might come in to our kitchen with, and make something good out of them, something delicious. You'll find all of those. There's in the chat. There's my links. You can follow me, and you can get yourself a spot in one of those or both of those workshops. I'll be coming up with more and more workshops as my platform is just making its baby steps now. So there's going to be a whole Instagram, and there's even a whisper of a podcast. Fingers crossed. And I'm sure me and Andrea will be coming up with loads of cooperation tips and tasty, functional, mindful treats for you. So it was lovely to talk to you, and have fun with the rest of the summit, and I'll see you at my workshops, at my Instagram, wherever. Bon appétit!